I think that the next president should make the pick. We don't have a very long distance to wait. Certainly, they could wait it out very easily, but I think the next president should make the pick. I would be not in favor of going forward.
Republican frontrunner Donald Trump on the phone with CNN earlier saying the next Supreme Court justice should be nominated by the incoming president, not the departing chief executive. Now, it's already a hot-button topic, so how will it turn out? For more, let's bring in a pair of journalists who cover just about everything in Washington. First, via Skype from the District of Columbia, Politico reporter Cate Martel. And also joining us from D.C., but from Newsmax Washington, the senior analyst from National Journal, Adam Wollner. We thank you both for your time here tonight on Newsmax Prime. So, there are a few schools of thought on why President Obama decided to nominate Merrick Garland. Some say it's an olive branch to the Republicans. Others say it's a game of political chicken, daring Republicans to not bringing up for a vote. Cate, in your mind, which one is it?
I think it was an olive branch, JD. And look, he could have nominated a lot more progressive candidates, but he went with somebody who is more of a moderate and somebody that is well liked by Republicans and was even voted to his current post by a Republican-controlled Congress. But I think what's going to come down to now is how many GOP senators will agree to meet with Garland. At this point, it's only been 7, and Republicans are going to start running the risk that if they don't end up meeting with him, it's an election year, and it could end up coming off looking like petty, and it could end up helping the Democrats in November.
You know, and maybe you can help me with this, Adam, because I hear Cate's assessment, and I'm, now granted, I'm a few more years along than you both, but I remember in the early 90s, there was then Senator Joe Biden chairing the Judiciary Committee in the Senate, saying no more nominees from a Republican president in an election year. Why should it be different for President Obama?
Right. I mean, I don't think it's any surprise that this issue has kind of fallen along your traditional partisan lines. You know, we heard Donald Trump and the other Republican presidential candidates have kind of echoed his statements saying that this should be up to the next president to put forth the next nominee, while, of course, the Democrats are in support of Obama putting forth a nominee and say that the Senate should vote on it. And that, you know, it's bearing itself out in some of the polls. You know, there's a recent NBC Wall Street Journal poll that showed a little more than half of all voters say that the Senate should at least consider President Obama's Supreme Court pick, but among Republican voters, nearly 70% said it should be left to the next president. So you can see why Republicans are holding this position, but it'll be particularly interesting to see what some of the Republican senators in blue states who are up for re-election this fall, what they decide to do. We're already starting to see more and more of them say they're at least willing to meet with the Supreme Court pick. We've heard that from Mark Kirk in Illinois, Kelly Ayotte in New Hampshire, and now even Ron Johnson in Wisconsin.
Sure, everybody will sit down, say hello, you know, you're a nice guy, you're wrong on the Second Amendment, but thanks for stopping by. That way they'll try to split the difference. More politics back in the presidential arena involving Republican frontrunner Donald Trump, as he is taking on the Wall Street Journal again. WSJ had an article stating that Hillary had gained more votes than Mr. Trump had so far in the different caucuses and primaries. Trump tweets out this statement. Wall Street Journal editorial says Clinton primary vote total is over 8 million, mine is 7 million plus, a knock, but she only had 3 opponents. I had 16. Apologize. Cate, is it always the fact that Donald has a rejoinder? For every journalistic organization, for every publication, he's always got something to say.
JD, it's hard to find a news organization at this point that Donald Trump hasn't tweeted about. And at this point, he just loves math. He loves the numbers. And when he sees insults about polls and delegates and where his numbers come in, that's where we're going to find Donald Trump fighting back, bringing out Twitter, bringing it to Twitter and to try to find arguments. But what's going to come down to is Donald Trump knows that it's going to be tight for him to hit the magic 1237 number of delegates. And if the popular vote, if it looks like he has a lower number than Hillary Clinton right now, he's worried he's not going to get to that number for the nomination. And then when we go to November, if the fight is already against Hillary Clinton, that he doesn't want to be having the lesser argument in that situation.
You know, Adam, it's interesting. Not only did Donald Trump take on the Wall Street Journal, but he dissed the Fox debate that was scheduled, and I guess they've pulled it now. It seems that Trump, as the frontrunner, is basically dictating where the party should head, at least in terms of media coverage. In your mind, Adam, is that going to turn out well for the GOP?
Well, yeah, you're exactly right. I think everyone's kind of been playing by Donald Trump's rules here these past few months, and of course, the Republicans have to consider what it will mean to have Donald Trump as their standard bearer this fall. And we already saw today in Washington, some top conservative leaders even met to discuss the possibility of a third-party run if Donald Trump is the nominee. And there's plenty of anti-Trump forces out there trying to keep him below that magic number of 1,237 delegates. But Donald Trump is going to continue to drive the conversation here, and Republicans are going to have to grapple with this.
Let me just get one parting comment from you, Cate, and that is a lot of candidates were complaining Trump gets all this time. Do you think it's going to make a case for what we used to call the fairness doctrine? Will Republicans reconsider that? About 20 seconds.
I think we might see Republicans start considering that. Donald Trump, just like Adam said, has been controlling the show. And I think we're starting to see some other Republicans try to continue this anti-Trump movement. I'm seeing now that Lindsey Graham is going to now be campaigning for Ted Cruz, who he had insulted far more in the past few weeks, and now he's campaigning for him. So I think we're seeing the Republican Party starting to freak out and realize, how can we try to control this for next time?
Well, it's interesting to see, and of course the U.S. Senate is the world's most exclusive club. Cate and Adam, thanks to you both for your opinions. And coming up later, Donald Trump as you've never seen him before, starring in a sitcom. You'll get a kick out of it. It's coming up later.